to Free Speech Nation with me, Josh Howie. My comedian guests this evening are the Intel Lady and Kerry Marks. Intel, how are you? You've burnt your red wig.
No way.
You'll keep it.
No way. She's doing a speech. She's doing her official resignation speech this week, apparently.
Oh, really? You're just ready
So
and get that video out there.
I'm going to do this.
Lovely.
Yeah.
And you've been here for Battle of Ideas, so it was
yes.
fun?
Yeah, I did both yesterday and today.
Oh, they only booked me for yesterday.
No, it was my first time doing it, so yeah, it was really good fun.
Good. And Kerry, how are you?
I haven't burnt my wig. I haven't done anything. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, very proud.
Good. Well, let's answer some questions from our audience. Our first question's from Ryan.
Good evening, everyone. Allegedly, drag queens reading to children is good, but Harry Potter in a pub is bad?
Yes, drag queens reading to children good. Harry Potter in a pub is bad. A pub cancelled its Harry Potter-themed Halloween dinner after staff received abuse over the choice of theme. Management said the event was meant to be lighthearted and had planned to raise money for trans youth. But the backlash made it too divisive. Locals criticised the cancellation as ridiculous, noting that the area's tourism heavily relies on Harry Potter's popularity. So, Ryan, obviously you're an alcoholic, and you read a lot of Harry Potter. You sad about this event being cancelled?
It's just another example, isn't it, of left-wing activists trying to shut down debate in a democratic society. At the end of the day, you know, no one is forcing anyone to go to a Harry Potter, J.K. Rowling event. You know, if you don't like it, don't go. And we seem to have just lost that common sense.
Yeah, I mean, I love how the pub was like, oh, we're going to have this Harry Potter, but we're going to give the money to trans kids or something. It was such a stupid cop-out.
It was, and were they really? I don't know that they were, but how were they going to protest this? Because it's in a remote area, so
yeah.
How were they actually going to? You have to get there either by boat or it's like an insane hike. So I just could visualise, you know, people in heels trip-tropping all the way through to make a point about, you know, trans rights being human rights. How is this, or is it just pure bullying and intimidation like they do with everything? Because if you have to admire. You've got to admire the dedication if they are willing to actually hike or boat all their way through to, you know, and in heels. Come on.
And in heels, yes. Because all women wear high heels.
Of course.
Yeah, I thought the whole J.K. I think the J.K. Rowling's thing is the irony of it all. The woman who writes about witches and the people who want to burn at the stake is just crazy to me. But this is as you say, it's so remote. You know, like carrier pigeon has brought the word to them. I don't know how they even heard about all this. And they're just. Do you remember when pubs were a place you went to for a bit of raucous fun and you could have a drink and a laugh and not care? And now they're like trauma centres for the staff. They've got to ask permission for everything. And this is. It's reached this point where you have to take a hike and you think you're getting away from it.
Yeah.
You know, you think you're getting away from all the madness, but even there, it's still waiting for you when you get there. So, yes, that's the world we're in.
There we go. Our next question is from Carlos.
Is public money for a queen history of fat activism money well spent?
Yes, so is public money for a queer history of fat activism money well spent? The Arts and Humanities Research Council faces criticism for funding PhDs on niche topics such as queer pirates, fat activism and Sleeping Beauty's unageing body. Critics say these taxpayer-funded projects worth over £80,000 each make a mockery of the council's mission to tackle major social challenges. The AHRC defends its grants, arguing that arts and humanities research benefits society and drives the creative economy. So £80,000 to do a PhD on queer fat history, that's easy money, right?
Yeah, I mean, what? You're really contributing to society.
It's a whole book written about Sophie Hagen. Yeah. Sorry, that's a very niche joke there about a comedian.
I knew who you meant.
Yeah. It's wild. I don't know. I mean, can we think of any equally ludicrous studies that we could... Well, let's just make them up at this point. Let's just make up, I don't know, microaggressions of straight white men and throughout history. I don't know.
I've read that one.
That's out there. That's out there. You can't make one up. We're way beyond that.
That's actually not ridiculous enough, is it?
No, nothing. You can do a pottery course now, and it'll be all about post-colonial structures of pottery and the evil racism that went into pottery. There's no escape.
I know. There's a white construct.
I'm saying you can't make fun of it. It's beyond making fun of it. They've covered everything. But what we need is a post-colonial studies of post-colonialism, because post-colonial studies are about as colonialist as it gets. It only happens in white countries, you know. So let's get rid of it. Someone needs to do a paper on that, and I will, and I'm going to get paid. I'll get a grant.
80 grand in there.
Yeah, it's spread out. It's spread out like an empire, isn't it, through every single discipline in universities and everywhere. And this story originally it's about the woman who was cutting the ribbons, isn't it? That she got this grant, and this was the woman who was cutting the ribbons. Did you see the story?
For the hostages.
Cutting the ribbons for the hostages. I don't know whether you can say cutting ribbons. She was de-ribboning them. Is that what we say nowadays? I don't know. We've got to find language around everything. But yeah, which is already. And she believes, or rather her husband believes, that Mossad is onto them. Like Mossad are sitting there going, Hezbollah have now got these massive new weapons, and there's this woman cutting a ribbon in Muswell Hill. We better look into it.
That's it. It was my favourite operation that I've been involved in. So our next question's from Marion.
Good evening. Should the taxpayer buy lipsticks for male criminals?
Should taxpayers buy lipsticks for male criminals? Miss Marion, call everybody. What? She's like the little elf that pops up on GB News in random places.
I should give my wave.
Yes,
I should have walked round the background and just terrified you, Josh.
Absolutely. Well, you wouldn't terrify me at all, because I believe there are only two sexes. Well, look, I'm going to go to the expert. What do you think about this?
Clearly not. And they shouldn't be buying wigs or prosthetics and frilly underwear, which they were actually offering to do in Scotland. So, yeah, absolutely nonsense. Do they do this for the women in the female estate? No, they don't.
Right, well, that's it. So, look, let me explain here. Men's prisons are being instructed to provide transgender inmates with makeup, clothing, prosthetics as part of a gender-affirming support. The guidance, including voluntary agreements and pronoun use, has sparked criticism from women's rights groups as absurd and deeply offensive. Prison officials stress that the items are purchased by inmates themselves, whilst the transgender prison population continues to rise. So this is what Mary is just saying, but female prisoners aren't allowed makeup. Yeah. But men pretending that they're women are allowed makeup.
Yeah, I mean, it's beyond a joke, isn't it, now? It's just absolutely ridiculous. And where does this, on the spectrum of women's rights, go exactly? Because when you're taking away from women, or you're saying no to women, but all the men can have the women's products, that's fine. And if you complain about the men having the women's products, then you're a bigot. And, you know, in the women's prisons, they'd have to hope that if they're allowed, family members are allowed to, you know, put some money on their accounts.
Why is the taxpayer having to fund this?
Yeah. So, yeah, well, the good thing is that at least in Scotland there are no more men in women's prisons. What? Is someone going to be fighting that? I don't know. Anyway,
it is about the buying it, though, isn't it? Because they can still buy their own makeup from the gift shop. Is it the gift shop you get in prison? I'm not sure. But I come from a time.
I've got to go. I just want to say that I actually sneak a lot of lipsticks on my bottom into prisons.
I thought it was just a rumour.
But that's Intel Lady and Kerry Mark. Right, we get some more questions from our audience, and our first question is from Edward.
Hi. Is the Lord of the Rings a metaphor for white supremacy?
Yes. No. Is the Lord of the Rings...
Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings a metaphor for white supremacy? Yeah, have you read Lord of the Rings? Actually, I know, Ed, you've read it many times.
I've been too busy reading Andrew Doyle's books to read Lord of the Rings.
Oh, wow, OK. He's not here anymore. You don't have to suck up to him. This is the University of Nottingham teaching a module claiming that Tolkien's Lord of the Rings depicts people of colour negatively through orcs and Eastern races. The course, led by Dr. Onyeka Nubia, frames these portrayals as part of a broader tradition of ethnic chauvinism in Western literature. Students are expected to critically engage with these interpretations, examine racial issues and other classics, including The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe and Shakespeare. Kerry!
Yes.
I'm imagining it. I mean, I know you used to be a magician, so I know that you spent a lot of time reading Lord of the Rings when you were growing up.
I've never read Lord of the Rings, but I'm embarrassed by it. I thought it was a book about, or a trilogy, a fantasy trilogy about war and friendship, but it turns out I'm not right at all. It's pure evil, every bit of it. Everything everyone's doing is evil.
You want to read it now.
All these people are evil. Look at the way they're dressed, the colonialist stuff and so on. It's horrible. And I don't know do you know what I think we got wrong? I think we got rid of insane asylums where we used to put people in straitjackets, and instead they're all out now, and they're looking through all fiction and everything they can. They're like bird spotters of oppression, you know. Oh, I found a little bit of oppression here, and they'll find it in absolutely everything. There's no escape anymore. I think it started with trigger warnings, and they ran out, and then they looked for things that we could be triggered by. So we're in a never-ending spiral now. Soon we'll drop all subjects, and we'll only be able to talk about, say, cotton wool bud. And it'll be every one of the ones in multicoloured packs, otherwise we'll be still evil. And then someone will say it's fat shaming. So that's where we're at. That's where we're going.
I'm not sure about that cotton bud analogy. If I'm honest with you, sorry, is that evil as well?
No, I'm saying the end result. I was just being ridiculous.
Oh, I see.
But you took me seriously, and you thought
that's always my problem.
You thought I'm actually predicting a future where people only talk about cotton buds. But then cut from now to 20 years in the future where people are only talking about cotton buds, and you will suck it, mate. You'll be like, well, I was wrong.
We'll wait for that 20 years. So, Intel Lady, have you watched Lord of the Rings? Because if you watch the film, they're kind of bluish.
And who said that those characters were based on people of colour?
Well, no, that's the thing, is that if you look at these characters and somehow see people of colour, I would argue the problem is you.
Who's the racist?
Yeah, absolutely, of course.
So who started that? Was it the people who wrote it or the people that watched it and made an assumption? It's very... You could trip yourself up with that. So I think it's so I think that will backfire on them completely. It just doesn't make any sense to me. But everything is offensive and everything...
Except cotton buds. Cotton buds, safe.
Yet, so far.
Only multicoloured packs.
Yeah. GB News has approached the University of Nottingham and Dr Onyeka for comment. I look forward to reading that paper. Our next question is from Jeff.
Good evening. I'd just like to say how honoured we are to have our Ange representing us Labours.
Thanks very much. I don't get out much these days.
Really? So. How's life in Hove? How's life in Hove?
So it's pretty quiet at the moment, I'll be honest. I've been laying low.
You've been on the dinghy recently? You've been on the dinghy?
No, not in this weather. No way.
Well, I thought your vaping might help you.
Everyone's obsessed with the vaping. That's all you ever ask about. How much do
If anybody
they...
hasn't seen that comedy sketch, by the way, viewers,
No idea what's going on.
Just suddenly
got multiple personalities. Sorry, yes. We should have
anyway, it's lovely to have you here. We're very honoured.
Thank you.
And you're giving your resignation speech.
Resignation speech this week. Can't wait.
We shall watch that.
She's got very many. She's got lots of new characters, by the way. She's portraying an orc.
Are you doing Lego Bobhead? What's the name?
Which one? I mean, there's several.
Hair by Lego.
Bridget. I've done Bridget.
You've done Bridget. And you've done Rachel.
I have done Rachel.
I've got to be honest with you, Jeff. You're actually scaring me now.
I'm sorry, I've got off script.
Someone's in love. It's a wonderful thing to see.
My question was, can the BBC be trusted to report from Gaza daily?
No, there we go.
No, it's quite simple.
Thank you, Ange.
You're welcome, Marcus.
So Ofcom ruled that the BBC breached broadcasting rules by airing a Gaza documentary narrated by a 13-year-old with links to Hamas. The watchdog said the failure to disclose the narrator's background was materially misleading and could erode public trust. The BBC has accepted the ruling, apologised, and will broadcast an admission of its failings on prime time telly. So, yes, Intel, you're very adamant there. No, it's a no from me.
I think they've been great. No, it's so much of it, and it's not just they used the son of a Hamas member and didn't even disclose it, but also some of the translations they had. You have someone in the film say something like, "I'm going to kill all the Jews," and then they translate it as, "I'm going to tell Israelis off." You know, it was that kind of thing, wasn't it, throughout?
Yeah.
And also, but you see what's also happening recently, where we've seen this exchange of prisoners from Israel, hundreds of prisoners being released for the hostages. this, and the BBC are reporting it as this poor man who's been in prison for 20 years, and then you look him up on the internet, and he's like, he blew up a bus.
Yeah.
You know, I think you forgot to mention that bit. So yeah, and I think it's been horrendous.
Well, they apologised recently for describing October 7th as an escalation.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. But then that was described as when the war went to Hezbollah. Hezbollah had been bombing Israel for 11 months at that point, with the BBC hardly even referring to it. And then suddenly it's an escalation. So, yeah, it's on brand. And I think it's unfortunate. I hope they sort themselves out.
Yes, now that the war's over. A BBC spokesman said the Ofcom ruling is in line with the findings of Peter Johnston's review, that there was a significant failing in the documentary in relation to the BBC's editorial guidelines on accuracy, which reflects Rule 2.2 of Ofcom's Broadcasting Code. We have apologised for this. We accept Ofcom's decision in full. We will comply with the sanction as soon as the date and wording are finalised. Our next question is from Jonathan.
Good evening. Is debanking an issue across the political divide?
Yeah, is debanking an issue across the political divide? A retired British couple active in pro-Palestine campaigning had their joint savings account with the Yorkshire Building Society closed without explanation. John Nicholson and Norma Turner say they have no financial or criminal issues and suspect the closure is linked to their activism. The move follows a wider pattern of banks freezing accounts connected to pro-Palestine groups after Palestine Action was proscribed. So this is an interesting one. We obviously saw Nigel Farage's accounts being frozen. This whole debanking phenomenon is incredibly chilling. This, regardless of where you are on the political spectrum or what you believe in or not, debanking is not good. I think you would agree with that.
I totally agree with that, yeah. I mean, what happened to Farage is a real eye-opener, but I don't believe anybody should be debanked for political views or anything else, unless it's funding terrorism or something.
Well, this is it, exactly. So, Kerry, looking into it a little bit further, if it is anything to do with their political ideology, which I am, very much against, and I disagree with them on this stuff, but it seems like there might be some deeper connections because one of them is the treasurer of this activist group, and of course it was just after Palestine Action, which now have, whether you agree with it or not, they have been labelled or classified as a terrorist organisation. So if any of that money, I know another activist group had like a link saying donating to Palestine Action. Well, that is of course illegal. So that would suggest there might be something more to this, possibly.
Yeah, there could be, but the bank hasn't disclosed or given any clues. So they might be embarrassed. They might not be able to say what it is. They might see that there's a load of Hamas. People don't realise Hamas have got billions in shell companies all over Europe. So there is money floating around that's suspicious. But they haven't said that. And I'm totally, I'm with you. I'm against, on principle, I'm totally against debanking. I think it's really bad, even though it is a bit funny in this situation. Because when you've got people who've been for ages shouting boycott and defund, and then it happens to them. Live by the boycott, comes back at you.
Yeah.
So, yes.
It's chilling, I think, as on this, reading this story, what happened to them?
No one should be debanked across the board for having any political opinions. I think that's absolutely ridiculous.
Doesn't matter how many times they bathe a week.
It doesn't matter how ridiculous they are or what they say in particular. They shouldn't be debanked. It's none of the bank's business or the state's business. They need to stay out of. That's our private stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, if there's more to it, and they have been funding terrorism, then obviously, absolutely. But that's a police matter.
Yeah.
But not a bank.
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, look, I disagree on principle, although I don't have any money, so it doesn't really affect me anyway. A spokesperson for IBS said, "We never close saving accounts based on different opinions or beliefs. Accounts are closed only in very rare circumstances with decisions made on the basis of specific facts of the case." Now, our final question is from Anton.
Well, is Labour banning birthdays?
Yeah, our Labour banning birthdays. By the way, happy birthday for tomorrow. Labour-backed guidance advises nurseries and primary schools to replace birthday cakes with fruit or non-edible treats to promote healthy eating. Parents and politicians have criticised the move as a nanny state overreach that spoils children's celebrations. Schools across the UK are now banning cakes, offering alternatives such as books, games or classroom activities instead. Interesting reaction from our audience here. They might not have heard it at home, but of all of the stories that we've talked about, this created the biggest murmur. Birthday cakes!
Don't come for the cakes.
Don't take cake. Well, come on, the children. Are they not allowed to have just a little bit of naughtiness, a little bit of a treat, a little bit of something to celebrate? It's one day. It's not every single... It's one day.
Yeah, well, it's one day for one kid. It's 30
And then,
kids.
I know, then...
So
then
maybe...
it's-
Well, what do you think, Kerry? Just ban it for the fat kids?
We're always going after fat kids. You know, we never win. They eat everything we throw at them. But look, in my day, we brought in whiskey and fags to school at that age. But it's something it's ridiculous. But it's also it's very short-sighted. If I was the Prime Minister right now, I'd be giving them bigger cakes with Labour written on it and try and win some votes. They're not going to vote for Labour. It's like Labour's become reverse Father Christmas, sort of creeping up and stealing their sweets. Horrible.
Yeah, and also I mean, replacing it with a book, which they do at my kids' school as well. You give a book on the kid's birthday.
Oh,
what I'm
tasty.
going to do is one of my kids' next birthday, I'm going to give them the school a book, but it's going to be about cakes. There's another story that's slightly connected, where I think 9,000 children, our primary school children, they've banned parents attending sports days.
See what triggers this audience.
Yeah.
Children self-IDing as the opposite sex. Totally fine with this audience. Talk about sports days and they kick off. Yeah, this is another move of the nanny state.
It's a parent's right to stand and watch their child at sports day and encourage them and yell and you know, get overexcited about something while their child's falling over themselves, and you know, it's part of being
Absolutely.
a parent. It's part of sports day. It's, you know, I hate
It's great. No, it's crazy. I mean, look, Kerry, I love going to the sports day. I love shouting at my kids, like, if you don't win, you're not having dinner.
You've got to stop going to the ones at other schools, though. Don't go stick to your own, Josh. Yeah, it's silly. I think part of the sports day thing is the kid waving at their parents and look at me and what I'm doing, isn't it? But and also I think it's a failure of the schools if they can't tell a parent off and say don't run over there or run across the line or whatever. Then that's pathetic. So.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say on it.
Fair enough. Right, next on Free Speech Nation, as a Jewish lawyer accuses the Met Police of arresting him...